There are too many bullish things going on right now. And I want to talk about that because the market is going to offer us something fantastic, guys. And we can definitely take that opportunity if you want to do something great for yourself, your family, your generation. So let's get into that. Let's take a look at the bull case of Bitcoin, crypto altcoins, also the things where you should be a little like careful because it's not all happy the peppy. It's also a lot of doom and gloom in the wrong time of the market. And let's take a look at certain altcoins that I think are worth buying. So let's get right into that. Of course, if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, and I am freaking gone. Wait 1 second. Ta-da! Here we are. Okay. At the moment, Bitcoin is sitting at $64,000. It's flirting at that level for the last couple of days, and that's fine. I mean, we had a run up from the wick low, which was $53,500, all the way to $66,000. Can't happen with a little cool off after that. People are taking some profits. It's getting a little overheated. That's fine. A little cool off. And it's a little cool off. I mean, it's not that we crashed or anything like that. The correction seems quite healthy. Like we said before, this is a important level. The bull market support band currently comes in at around $65,500. We'll go a little down over time if Bitcoin stays here. But we need to really break that level in order to turn super bullish. But we also have to close the week above it. So there is some time left. Now, I want to go over some bull cases, guys, because there is a lot of good stuff happening in crypto when it comes to AI, when it comes to gaming, when it comes to launchpads, when it comes to nodes, when it comes to the full opportunity that we are getting right now. And people, you can't even imagine the altcoin market is sitting at lows. It's sitting basically at the lows right now, right? And if you're still here, if you're now bullish, then you're bullish at the right time. I can honestly tell you that. You might feel like, what are you smoking again? It's not sitting at the lows. Look, this is the altcoin market, right? Sitting far from the lows. Yes, because Bitcoin went up. But we all know that Bitcoin goes up in the bull cycle, right? But when it comes to altcoins themselves, yeah, still not doing so well, right? If you look at altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, it's sitting at the lows right now. Can it go lower? Yeah, of course, it can go lower. Like, I'm not here to predict that. It can go lower, it can go sideways, it can go up. What happens in the short term? I don't know. I don't care. All I know is if it sits at a low level, it's an opportunity. If it goes sideways, it's a patient tester, but it's also an opportunity. And if it goes up, you will finally get the rewards from the opportunities that you took once the market was low. If you don't have the balls to do that right now, then there are no rewards for you when the market goes up. That's simple. So simple as that. So look at the market, be like, hey, it's not really high right now. Maybe we should do something. But that's just my humble opinion. Now let's take a look at a couple of interesting things. Like Davis is a guy that I like to listen to. I wanted to say like to look at, but that sounds a little gay maybe. But he has great videos. He's a smart brain in this crypto space. Now, he tweeted something super bullish. And if that's going to play out, I don't know. But I don't know him as a moon boy or anything. He said the total crypto market of crypto went to $3 trillion last cycle. With all the institutional adoption we have seen so far, it's expected to hit 10 trillion this cycle. And that's not even this weird, right? If you look at the total crypto market, even if it goes to 10 trillion, that's pretty, diminishing. If you take a look from the top of this cycle in 2017 until the top in 2021, that's a 300% gain, right? However, if we go from this top to 10 trillion, it would be a 200% gain. That's already diminishing, okay? For the people that like to say, diminishing returns. Yeah, diminishing returns, but also more demand. Institutions right now, Trump even, super pro crypto at the moment. ETFs, I don't have to explain what happened in the last couple of months, but this is worldwide adoption happening right in front of you. So, yeah, it's not that bad. So, even with all of that, I expect a little diminishment. Is that a word? And it could definitely go to around 10 trillion. Now, what he says is that will equal a $250,000 Bitcoin, a $15,000 Ethereum, and a $750 Solana. If that happens, it will unleash mind-blowing gains that most people can't even fathom. And I know that there are definitely people that say like, yeah, not gonna happen. But that's so typical crypto. It's always not gonna happen, and then it happens times 10. That's just what happens. But when prices go down, you cannot imagine prices going up. And when prices going up, you can not ever imagine, hitting a bear market again. It's just what it is, right? But the big moves are definitely about to happen. Now, in my opinion, this is possible. These specific numbers are possible. But what's also possible is that we maybe see a 180K Bitcoin, right? But still with a 10 trillion dollar market cap. But that would just mean that the Bitcoin dominance would be so much lower, but that altcoins are actually going way higher, way higher, right? So how altcoins respond if and when this happens, but mostly if, is are we going to see the dominance fall, stay steady, or rise, right? If it rises, and altcoins still go with it, very clear, of course. But if it falls, then it's going to be party time. So, and then we get these ADA to $8 or $10, like, sure, sure, $8 or $10. I don't know. All I know, everything is possible. Everything is possible. Somebody else. This is I just wanted to read tweets. They are all over the place, but it's interesting. Somebody said, I am all in. No cash, 100% altcoins. Now, usually these are accounts that post stuff to get clout. So I don't know even if it's true, but I know a lot of people, for them, it is true. A lot of people are all into altcoins. Biggest mistake ever, okay? Never do that. I understand that you feel like, yeah, but that's where the big rewards are. It is where the big rewards are, because it's also where the big risk is. You can't have one without the other. And I think you should be very careful, and you should think about the fact, what if I lose it all? Is that okay? Right? And you should not think like, I am not going to lose it all. You will at some point. These are altcoins. They will all go to zero, probably someday. Right? Will all be replaced. Maybe a few exceptions, but always think about that. Do you want to be all in altcoins? I personally would say screw, over the long term especially, screw every single one of these altcoins. Maybe not Ethereum, but yeah, I don't know. Bitcoin is the place to be. Okay, that's the only thing you want to have for the long term. It's the fastest growing asset worldwide. It's outperforming gold, the Nasdaq. I mean, Nvidia had a run, but take a look over the long term, right? The S&P, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's the outperforming asset, and now it's getting that worldwide adoption. It's in these ETFs. It's getting safer all the time as well. And people always underestimate what the rewards are actually with Bitcoin. But look at its worst cycle. It's 20x, worst cycle. Yeah, not bad. Imagine, Elio, all of crypto Twitter sells when Bitcoin hits 100K. And then Bitcoin just rips to 1 million, no dips. Now, it's of course not going to happen, but I think that what he means is this specific case will definitely happen. 100K is such a psychological barrier that a lot of people say like, yeah, this is it. This is the top, right? And that people sell right there because, wow, milestone hit. We've been talking about this for years, right? 100K. But is that the ceiling or anything? Of course not, right? A lot of people will sell right there. And I actually can imagine that a lot of people will look at the chart a couple of weeks later and be like, fuck, what did I do? And that they will buy back, and that will pump the price high. That will cause that domino effect, basically. Straight to 1 million, no dips is, of course, never going to happen, right? Will it go to 1 million? Yeah, probably someday, right? I mean, it's very simple. There's a fixed supply. So supply is not going up. Demand is. So yeah, that's the recipe for the price going up, of course. But will that happen this year or maybe in 10 years or 20 years? Yeah, I think the most likely outcome is definitely not within a year. But who knows? Maybe I'll be wrong about that. I mean, the companies and the institutions that step in, it's also, we never imagined that to happen a couple of years ago. So it's full of surprises. But this is something like this scenario is likely to happen, where people sell at 100K and then the price just keeps on going up, because that's the barrier that they have set. I think we go way higher than that, though. Coach K says, this is just the beginning of the biggest bull run we have ever seen. I can 120% disagree with that. Sorry. Also, I understand the cloud farming and I understand the positive sentiment and all, but let's keep it realistic. This is not going to be the biggest bull run ever. Okay? That's simply because of the fact that there is way more money in the market right now, way more liquidity. It's not going to happen. I mean, if you take a look only at the 2016-17 bull run, Bitcoin, I'm not even talking about altcoins, right? Bitcoin gained 12,000% from the bottom to the top. 12,000%. Bitcoin is not going to do that right now, then it will go to $1.8 million this bull run. So what he says basically is, well, $1.8 million. I don't know. I don't want to say it's impossible or anything, but it's quite close to impossible. And for altcoins goes the same, man. I mean, there are so many more altcoins right now. Also, if you take a look at the Bitcoin dominance, right, you can see the alt seasons that we had right here. We had the first alt season right here, where there were basically no altcoins. We had Doge, Litecoin, XRP, Ethereum, but the beginning altcoins basically. So yeah, once they came, all the Bitcoin money, which was basically sitting at 100% dominance, was going into the altcoins. So that would cause the altcoins to completely 10,000x. Then the second alt season was in 2021 during the ICO hype and DeFi summer, etc. That was also a big ass alt season, but you can see how less dominance was already, like the dominance topped out at around 70%. Because although it was a Bitcoin season, people still were holding money into Ethereum, etc., etc. And now the dominance is just sitting here, right? So either it has to go up very hard first. That means that your altcoin bags are getting completely demolished, right, first. Or we just go down, but it will by far not be the biggest run ever, right? And I'm not saying that this is the bottom, but I cannot imagine a world with this Bitcoin mass adoption and anything like that, where the dominance for Bitcoin goes that low. So will this be the biggest bull run ever? This will be the smallest. I'm pretty sure about that. Nevertheless, will still be huge. Okay, will still be huge. In other news, I just saw this and I just wanted to share this. Like, more in general, this is what crypto gaming nowadays looks like, right? And this is not like, I don't know really this game. I've been following it, but I don't know them. I don't know anything about it, which I should, I think, because this looks pretty cool. But this is what crypto gaming looks like nowadays. And this is starting to look good, right? Same with Cockedy. I got to play Cockedy this week. And this is smooth. This is actually nice to play, right? I remember in 2021, we had, I don't know if you were there though, but we had Axie, it was a big hype, right? Sandbox, Decentraland. But let's be real. Look at Decentraland. What's that piece of shit? And the valuation was $5 billion. But it looks like it was made in 3 weeks by 3 kids with 3 brain cells, smoking 3 joints, like crazy bad. But the valuation was so high. And of course, there was not much competition. Now there's way more competition, so all the money has to be divided by these projects. So that's a reason why I think crypto gaming won't be like that huge. But still, it will be freaking huge, right? Because the quality is now finally coming. The quality is now coming. Like, if you compare Web3 gaming to Web2 gaming, let's be honest, we're running behind with at least 10 years. All the games that are now coming out on Web3 look like, this was PlayStation 4 material, actually, right? And not everything has to be AAA, not everything has to look like Grand Theft Auto, etc. But we are running behind. Now, actually, I start to see these games that are actually looking good. They actually look good. So I'm very bullish on gaming, and I think you should not fade it. It's quiet around there. Also, people say it's dead. And every time something with quality is quiet and people say about it that it's dead, it turned out to be the best buying opportunity we had. Okay? So I'm not saying like buy these individual games or anything. If you want to have some exposure to an industry, which is the most obvious in my opinion, you can look at the infrastructures, right? Beam, IMX, maybe even Avalanche, right? They're doing a lot with gaming, but don't fade it, really. I think that's super unwise. Next up, by the way, like the video would help me a lot, would help yourself a lot as well, because other people, they be like, hey, who's this dude? And they look at it and be like, okay, and together we stand, man. Then Coach Crypto also, again, he said this is interesting. Yesterday was the 10th consecutive, I'm Dutch, but it probably means positive, right? Day for the ETF inflows. There's a new all-time high in holdings. The ETFs has over 900,000 Bitcoin already. Just imagine the possibilities of this chart. And this chart looks like the Plan B chart. I'm not completely sure, but damn, this looks interesting. As you can see, Bitcoin is always fighting its all-time high for quite a while. Last run, by the way, not always, but it lasted a couple of weeks as well, though. But Bitcoin is always fighting its all-time highs, and then once it blasts through, it blasts through, right? You can see the same thing as well. We're now at the same point. It has nothing to do with narratives. It has nothing to do with, is it good? Is institutions, are they actually stepping in? It's just bulls versus bears at this moment. And by looking at this chart, bears are long-term never the winner. Never. Never, ever. So far, never. All right. And they will never be, because money gets printed, right? That's just what it is. Money gets printed eventually all the time. So risk assets will, in theory, will also in real life actually always go up. Why do you think the S&P is always going up or this or that? It's not because, it's because everything against the dollar, the dollar is worth less because there's more. So everything against the dollar is going up, of course, right? I'm a little off topic here. But this is interesting. Also, if you look at the blue zone, right? That's where we are right now. That's even more bullish, because if you look at these blue zones, the previous blue zones, look how much happened after that, right? It's crazy. So yeah, the coming year and a half should be super interesting. Reg Capital, if history repeats, a Bitcoin breakout from the reaccumulation range would occur in September 2024. Kind of lines up with what I think as well, for very different reasons though. But it's more like we have the rate cuts now probably coming in August, and it's somewhat already priced in, but still it's gonna be nice. But if you just look at the cycle, that's just what happens. And if you look at this, you can see we have the reaccumulation phase right here, post-halving, before we really go up. It's always the case. We have the halving, nothing happens for a while, because, I don't know, it's just like not time yet, and people maybe get disappointed. They see the halving and their portfolio is cut in half, right? And then they feel like, this is a bummer. And so nothing happens for a while, and then you start to see the effects of the halving, the presidential election, the money printing, potential QE, rate cuts, whatever, the macro, right? Which is actually the one and only thing that matters for crypto, right? Not if your favorite shitcoin is getting listed on Maxi or whatever. You have to look at these bigger things, okay? We're now at the same exact point. Again, it's the reaccumulation phase from what it looks like. And the real parabolic phase hasn't really begun yet. And I don't think we're going just as parabolic as previous cycles, but up is pretty much my expectation, if I'm completely honest. Meta Exceed, by the way, as well. I think it's super interesting, also about crypto gaming, but we are solving the top 3 barriers to mass adoption, right? Meta Exceed is, and I spoke with them before, and I think that this is a big project when it comes to monetization, especially, but monetization, quality, and access, right? Quality, You want to have good games, right? If you don't have good games, everybody can take a look at it, but nobody's going to play it. Access, super important. There could be very good games out there, but if crypto, it's already hard enough, right? So if people feel like, yeah, I have to make a wallet right there, I have to do this, I have to install that launcher and that, you don't want to do it anymore, right? And monetization is super important, of course, since you want such a project to run, right? And if they can monetize through Web 2 by running ads, for example, and that money from Web 2 in that way comes into Web 3 in crypto, that's a win for everybody. Instead of the typical Ponzi's that we have seen so far, like buy the Axie Infinity token and you have to sell it again, and then everybody else is earning it and they're gonna dump it, and the token that you like, we don't need these Ponzi's anymore, right? Well, from Web 2 to Web 3 is still Ponzi, but it's a bigger Ponzi, and that's putting us at the winning side, basically. I don't know when the token is going to launch, though, but I know that MetaXseed is working hard, and I think that, like, everybody was super excited about Nakamoto Games. This is Nakamoto Games on steroids. Let me put it like that. In other news, the Bitcoin Bollinger Bands are crazy tight by historical standards. The Bollinger Bands are basically the suppression, and once they release, it's a big move, whether to the up or the downside, to put it like that. And only 2 other months in history we have seen the weekly Bollinger Bands so compressed. In April 2016, let's take a real quick look in April 2016 for Bitcoin, because that's quite interesting to know, right? April 2016 was over nowhere, old chart. April 2016 was over here. Well, you see what came after that, right? And what else did we have? July 2023, which was over here before that big run-up. And now we are getting it again. A similar move this time around would target Bitcoin within a range of $140,000 to $190,000. Interesting, right? Interesting. Especially if you compare this first run, again, the boring zone, the reaccumulation phase, however you want to call it, right? But sideways for a while, making people, get out of the market, not believing anymore. And then the move happens, right? And now the move happens. And you can say, like, yeah, now everybody expects it. Who's everybody? There's nobody in the market right now. If you look at the social risk at this moment, the YouTube viewers, subscribers, etc., it's again reaching for new lows, right? So the retail is not, and that's what I find so interesting, right? Last cycle, Bitcoin was sitting at upper 60s because retail was all over the place. Now we are sitting at upper 60s again, but retail is not even here, right? It's the OGs. It's the few people that feel like, okay, maybe this could be something. And it's the institutions. It's just us. The retail is not here yet. But still, Bitcoin is maintaining that high level. So I can only imagine what happens once retail steps in. And I can tell you, retail is not stepping in until we see a big alt season. Or we see a big alt season because retail is stepping in. But nevertheless, whatever, chicken and egg story, doesn't matter. I think we need to see one to see the other. And in my opinion, end of the year, beginning next year. That's me. What's quite interesting, though, is that the Fear and Greed Index shot up like crazy, right? We were sitting at 25 just a few days ago. And now we're sitting at 60. It's crazy. It's crazy how fast that went. Right? So people were so fearful around 13 of July. Right, look at that. Look at the price chart. 13th of July. When was that? Here. Again, Warren Buffett, buy when people are fearful. And that's exactly, again, what happened. The fear was high right here. You can see it in the price. Since then, the safest crypto asset went up 15%. Simple. Right? Don't be scared, man. Don't be scared. Especially when it comes to Bitcoin. When it comes to your altcoin bags, yeah, you should be scared. Because they can go to zero. They probably will someday. But if they survived for so long, I think they should do well, right? Now, what I think is interesting, and this might be controversial, though, but a lot of people say, old altcoins suck. Look into the new altcoins. And although I agree that new altcoins with new technology, new hype, whatever, could be very nice, it also is a little bit the other way around. New altcoins still usually have a lot of inflation to go. If you look at new pre-sales, yeah, if you buy it on the open market right now, you can maybe buy a token for a $3 million market cap while facing a 60 million fully diluted, right? And all these VCs and early investors can just dump on you, right? Also, it's still super speculative, of course, right? The team just came into the game, basically. And what I think about the older altcoins, like I don't know, AVAX, for example. AVAX is having its last vesting, I think, in September, right? Which means that all the AVAX tokens are now vested, so no more dumping. Then AVAX will become deflationary. We have seen what it did in a bull market while it was inflationary. So what could it do when it's deflationary? Crazy, right? Also, they had way more time to build. Like, it's maybe an older altcoin. The altcoin might be old. But that doesn't matter. The technology is still developing. It's not that the altcoin came out in 2020 and the development also happened in 2020 and since then nothing happened anymore. That's not what it is, right? So don't try to be too smart and say like, yeah, old altcoins suck, right? You only should be in new ones. It's sometimes true, but not all the time, right? In what cases is it true? Well, if you look at the XRP, for example, right? Yeah, back in 2017, it was great technology, right? And it was the only one that did what it did. Come on, look what we have right now. We don't need XRP anymore. And that's the reason why the price isn't moving for 7 years. So yeah, there are definitely cases where old altcoins are boring, but nothing wrong with researching it a little bit. It's not that it's like, they're boring, don't buy it, period. No, still depends on the specific altcoin, of course. Nevertheless, new altcoins could be super interesting, especially if you are really, really, really early on them. And a good way to do that is through launchpads, right? Now, I spoke about Seedify a lot, and I'm making a full video about Seedify again because they have updated something. They're coming out with something new, and I think it's quite interesting, to be honest. No, I'm not sponsored by Seedify. I wish. So if somebody from the team happens to watch, just give me some money, and I will continue talking about it. It's not going to work like that, I think. But hey, can try. But Seedify is here. Seedify, it showed strength, right? Once the market at the beginning of this year and last year showed like, hey, these are the altcoins that are going up. Seedify was the one that outperformed the market, right? It did an 11x. The overall altcoin market did a 4x, 4x on average. Seedify did an 11x. It was a big outperformer. It's nice. Now it came down pretty hard as well. Looks like an opportunity to me. I got to sneeze. I'm not sure though. We'll find out. I'm not editing it. So, but now it's sitting at quite low prices, right? 150, 140, give or take. It was sitting at $18. Will it go back there? Good, definitely. But, way more tokens on the market right now. So remind yourself, $6 is the new $18. So we kind of already went there. Nevertheless, I think it has a lot of potential, man. And if you look at the projects that are coming up on Seedify, they're lining up again. Micro GPT, which looks a lot like Chain GPT. I mean, if you take a part of the name, okay, but if you also have to take their logo, I feel like, why? But hey, whatever, it's refundable anyway. Matrix 1, RuneMine, Soulstorm, EstateX, they have a whole lineup again. Okay, so that looks quite interesting. It's all about being early in this space. Like I said before, even if you bought Hex in the last market, worst project out there. Doesn't matter if you were early, you still make money with it, right? So can you imagine what happens if you're early into good projects? Now, I know that pre-sale projects lately are not performing so well, but that time will come again, right? They are now not performing well. So people are now thinking like, oh, never mind. No, everybody is thinking that right now. And therefore, the Seedify price is so low, right? It will come back. Guarantee you that. Also, another way to be early, I spoke about this yesterday, are the Lumia hyper nodes. If you don't have a node yet, it's definitely worth checking it out. I'm going to leave a link down below because you need a code to get in. But this is Orion rebranding to Lumia, one of the biggest node sales out there. Guaranteed Binance listing, Coinbase listing already. So this is like an obvious play to me. And what else is pretty obvious? If you look at the top gaining categories and you take a pretty big category, right? So not a frog themed bullshit kind of category, but something that actually has some money in it already. AI, right? AI is the place to be. And if you look what some AI coins did this week, it's crazy. If you look at these numbers, right? This is actually really good stuff. I'm a holder of Alexo, I'm a holder of PAL, I'm a holder of Orbify, of no GPU, right? And they are all bouncing quite hard. Now, of course, it looks nicer than it is, because yeah, if you look at this price chart, hey, came down really hard and now it has a bounce. Yay. But this thing bounced 100% in a week. Can you imagine what it does in a altcoin season bull market? I don't know. These looks like the things like, hey, if we have a good correction, they bleed hardest. But if we have a good bounce, they also bounce hardest. So I'm still having a cold. I'm not on coke or anything. So I wouldn't fade this. I would not fade this. Okay. So, you know, do check it out. You can see my holdings as well, by the way. Yeah, I'm in a loss. Fuck that. Yeah, it's what it is, man. It's what it is. For now, the market is, yeah, a little sideways, a little down. We need to cool off a little bit. It's interesting. The dominance is still going up. It's bouncing perfectly again. And it looks interesting because if you zoom out a little bit, you can see that it's making lower lows and higher lows and lower highs. Right, so I'm interested to see how this is going to play out through, you know, coming month, basically. This could be break or make time. Make or break, bake and wait. I don't know. Could be the time where it has to make a decision. And that can tell us like, hey, are altcoins getting the final reckoning, or can we finally see a glimpse of what we can call an alt season? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you expect? For now, thanks for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. I'll see you.